Nicholas, what are you doing today?
Well, Lewis, we have these 3 boxwoods that we got last October. Somebody was redoing their yard and they had ripped up a ton of boxwoods and the landscaper was selling them for cheap. So we went and picked them up. I think we got all 3 for maybe $50, but because they were pretty big, it felt like a pretty good deal, and then we could experiment with them without having too much risk involved. So the plan for today is to shape them. So I put them in last October when we got them. They've overwintered here. I didn't really want to cut them or anything because I thought I'd just let the roots have time to establish. And then now they've had however many months, like 8 months in the ground, so it felt like a good time to try to trim them. So today I'm going to try to shape them, and we'll kind of see what shapes they want to be. I'm going to start with this one. Some kind of like a cone shape, but it's not going to be like a perfect cone. It might be kind of a little droopy or a little, like, I don't know, interesting. If the stem is already kind of crooked, then we might just kind of go with that and make it look cool. So the tools I'm using for this project are basically 3 sizes of pruners. So I have the really little ones in case I need to kind of go in somewhere that's like a little bit more delicate. These ones, which I'll probably be using for most things. And then just in case we need to cut something that's like a little thicker, I have the big ones too, but I don't know if we'll actually be using these. Yeah, so the first thing is kind of just to evaluate the shape of the bush anyway. And this one seems to have kind of a natural like pyramid shape kind of around here. So that's what I'm going to be trying to bring out. It's kind of an experiment, so we'll see how it goes. And it felt like good ones to experiment on. And one thing that I've seen a lot of people talk about when they're pruning these or doing bonsai or anything like that is just like look at it from all different sides, keep stopping, stepping back, looking at it, because sometimes you won't like notice that you're kind of going off course until it's too late. But even if that happens this time, we can play with correcting it after. I'm starting off by thinning out the thickest branches, just because that will have the biggest impact and allow me to see the shape that's developing. And generally when you cut back, just make sure you cut back to something. So these ones have their buds pretty close together, but if I was to cut this here, then I'll always have like a little piece of wood sticking out until these kind of grow up and cover it. So if I cut back all the way to the leaves, then it kind of looks good already. All right, so I think I'm going to stop here for now until I can do the other ones too, and then I'll get an idea of what those ones are turning out like. And then if I want to trim this a little more so that they can all be pretty cohesive, then I'll do that. And then once I'm done trimming all of them to about this degree, I'll go and get the other shears, which I'll show you as well. And then that's what I'll use just to kind of like smooth it all out if there's any like little guys sticking out or anything. So the first couple went pretty well. They seem to have kind of a natural apex, which made it like a little bit easier to work from. But this one doesn't. So I'm kind of just walking around and trying to figure out where I can get the best shape from. What I might end up doing is imagining a future apex about here. And then when I do that, I can see like a natural shape forming. So I might just go for it and see what happens. But so far the first two worked out okay, and I kind of left the hardest one for last. So hopefully it'll work out. So this will definitely be a process. It won't be finished after today, but hopefully we have kind of a good structure going so that then in a couple of months, once there's some new growth on it, I can trim it again, start to fill it in, and then I can keep kind of tweaking the shape until it's like exactly what I want. But where we've ended up is kind of like a small one that can eventually be a medium one. This one has the biggest base, so eventually this can be the tallest, and I'll let the apex grow to maybe about here. So now that I have all the main branches trimmed off, I'm gonna go around with these guys and just kind of smooth it out. So these guys are great for cutting all the soft growth. And if you hold them upside down, so with the curve, or kind of like a concave curve against the plant, you can get like really close, and it's easier to be, I guess, a little more like ruthless about it. And since we've cut all the thicker branches off already, this should go pretty easily. If there's one or two that we missed, we can come back. All right, so it's all done. I'll take you and show you around. I've cleared off all the little branches and stuff that I cut, but I left any of the leaves. They'll go brown within a day or two, and they're pretty good mulch. So you can see a general shape coming out. They each have a few different bare patches. I think where they were planted before, they were kind of part of a hedge. So they each had good sides and not so good sides. I tried to put their not so good sides towards the sun when I planted them, hopefully to give them a better chance to fill in quickly. But I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out, especially these two on the right. I was like really unsure about. So I'm glad that they ended up kind of the general shape. The lupin's looking cute. That's a little Cornus Florida dogwood in the middle. It doesn't look very happy right now, but hopefully in another year or so it'll grow and kind of eventually tower over these guys, kind of give them a little shade which they can handle too, and then kind of have like a little bit of a woodland thing going, because we have like the lupins, and then there's some perennial tulips that are also kind of pink and red that come up in April. But yeah, thanks for joining me for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And I'll see you again next time.